welcome back to another video, guys. And today I wanted to talk briefly for a few minutes about recovery and how important it is in terms of being able to progress and grow from your current training. And I think a lot of recovery is overlooked when it comes to nutrition and rest, because you don't quite sometimes understand the amount of stress you cause on your body from training. So that's why I think it's important to understand a bit about these stresses so that you can think about recovery as equal to training when it comes for you to be able to progress in your physique or any goal you have to do with training. So if we take a kind of like a holistic approach and just look at a lifestyle as a whole, you can almost say that your body adapts to the everyday stresses of life. So whether this is training, whether it's your career, your job, any hobbies, or anything that requires you to use energy, or anything that is mentally or physically demanding, your body is always adapting to these so that you can continue to do them daily. So everybody in their own way has their own capacity to be able to recover and therefore do the things that they do every day. So for example, if you play five-a-side football for many years now, you're going to be much more fitter, or another person that joins you all of a sudden to play with you might not be as fit as you are currently, and for you it might be a breeze to keep playing week in, week out, whereas the other guy is going to find it much more difficult in his initial couple of weeks because the body is not used to that type of stress. But in a couple of weeks' time, that person will also be able to play five-a-side football much more frequently and at ease in terms of fitness levels, because his body will have adapted to it. So all of us and our bodies have a capacity to be able to deal with stress, and also have a certain threshold to which your body can handle stress before it needs to really begin to stop other functions from being able to take place, because you're putting it over more and more stress than it's used to. So what we're doing with training is creating additional stress, a specific type of stress, so that your body can adapt to it and become more and more resilient to it. So if you're creating a training structure which is based around building more and more muscle, the more damage you do, the more your body is going to build more and more muscle mass in order to be able to adapt to this, which is the goal you're after. Another thing we try and do with training is cause a level of supercompensation in recovery from our body. So what this basically means is that where your body has a baseline of recovery, and when you do training, what happens is that that stress causes you to go below those baseline levels. But when your body is recovering it back to that level, what you're hoping for is for your body to supercompensate and increase and go above that baseline level for a temporary amount of time in anticipation of more stress. And it's in that supercompensation level where you want to hope that you can train again and take advantage of that increased recovery time. And this is the cycle that you want to continue working in, and that's where progression will happen. But it's also interesting to think about that as this baseline of your stress threshold increases, that's the reason why plateaus happen more and more, because training has to get more and more difficult. You have to be able to push barriers, and you have to be able to also then recover from this added stimulus and added intensity of a workout, for you to be able to recover and supercompensate again and again, time after time, to progress. And that's the difficulty of more and more advanced lifters being able to progress, as opposed to a novice or a beginner lifter. And why I say recovery is important is because when we do go below that baseline of recovery from that training stress, if we're unable to recover from that, by the time our next workout comes, we won't be at baseline level, or forget even supercompensation. If we can't hit that baseline level again, what we're doing is working in a deficit of a recovery. So we're hitting another workout probably in the same body part without having fully even recovered to normal levels. So you can forget progressing Best case scenario is that you might just plateau, or worst case scenario is you're going to continue regressing. That's why it's important to be able to recover from every workout. And recovery, even though it might be from deload from your current training program, mostly you're going to hope it comes from proper nutrition and rest. Deloads are there for your body to be able to rest from the current stimulus that it's already adapted to, because you can't make progression once your body's already adapted to it. So what we do is introduce a different training program so that your body gets a rest from that stimulus, but also the deload program is providing another training adaptation that will further progress your actual main program. So a really basic example of this might be if you're training for muscle growth and muscle mass for majority of the year, your main program is going to be hypertrophy. But what you can do to deload from this once you've plateaued in being able to gain more muscle is you might work more around metabolic training, so your capacity to recover between sets, or neurological training, which is to improve and increase more and more strength. And all these two and other types of training programs, what they do is increase your body's ability to benefit into that hypertrophy program with more strength and more capacity to recover. And that's where deloads are really good. Now, when it comes to nutrition and recovery, what I'm talking about is mostly having enough calories or enough macronutrients to be able to fuel that recovery. And so we're talking about adequate levels of protein to be able to assist in repairing damaged muscles, and if your goal is muscle gain, to be able to synthesize more of that, and also carbohydrates, because the more intense or the more higher volume your workouts are, the more glycogen and glucose your body's gonna use, and so those levels will be very low, and you need to replenish those in the future so that you can get most of your workouts. Rest is another one. If you don't rest enough, your body isn't able to get into that parasympathetic state to be able to be in a state of rest and digest. So all this nutrition that you provide your body with, it's not going to be able to use it optimally for you to be able to recover and replenish. And that's why it's important to get proper quality sleep daily. Things like diet breaks are also really good, because if your training level has dropped, your sleep quality goes down. It could be because your overall calories are just really low and you're not being able to recover, so you're more and more tired, you feel much more weaker. So in this case, if you just bring your calories a little bit higher than normal, your body can then begin to decrease those hunger levels, begin to replenish all your systems and fuel your body for the future. So in a couple of weeks' time, you'll be in a prime position to be able to focus on your main programs with more intensity. But that's all I wanted to say for this video, guys. I just wanted to give you guys a rough idea of how important recovery is and how it links on to training, and in particular the type of training you're doing, and how your body will require a different amount of recovery to adapt to that and grow accordingly. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, definitely leave it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, comment below on what you might want to hear about in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one.